Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Mo again. Well, today our section is all about policies, GPOs, group policy objects. Let's take a look and see what this is all about. By the way, what I need is one actual server, and I actually have two clients, two 10 machines. So let me go to my server as a full screen. So what I need to do is go to Tools and go to Group Policy Management. We actually work with it a little bit where I change the password policies. Well, we're going to get into the guts and the details of actual policies. So when I actually open GPOs, I see the forest, udemy.local, right? I only have one forest, which is actually one domain, one tree. And what do I do in policies? Restrictions. But check this out. If I expand domains and I expand my name.local, I could see that there's an actual policy linked to my domain, right? Default domain policy. I could see there's a policy linked to the domain controls OU. I only have two. If I expand group policy objects, I only see two. Now, what do I do with these? These are actually restrictions. Let's say, for example, I don't want my entire organization to open control panel. I don't want a specific department to open the command prompt. I don't want a specific service to be running in a specific department. That's just a little example of what I could do with policies and restrictions. I could link them to different levels. I could link them to the domain. That means it's going to affect all my organizational units. I could link the policy to an OU. I could link a policy to the site, right? I mean, I only have one site right now. So if I right click sites and show sites, I see the default first site name and I click OK. So I could link policies to an actual site. I could link policies to an actual domain. I could link policies to an actual organizational unit. And we're going to see what all this is actually about over here. But I only have two of them. If I want to see what's taking effect on one of the policies, I'm just giving you an intro over here. I go to default domain policy and I go to the settings tab and I could see exactly what this policy is all about. It's a very amazing console, by the way. So it's generating a report. I need this. And let's take a look. And it tells me information about the policy, what's actually taking effect. Look, remember, I changed the password policies, right, in force, and I made it disabled and minimum password length. So I could see exactly what's taking effect on this policy. This policy affects my entire organization because it's linked to the domain where this policy is only affecting the domain controllers OU. Why? Because it's actually linked to the domain controllers OU. So it's only going to affect this actual DC. That's what we need to know, right? It's only affecting this domain controller. I only have two of them as you see by default, but there's lots of things to know. There's an actual, like, for example, what is block inheritance? If I right click a policy, what does enforced mean? What is link enabled if I remove it? If I delete it, how do I create and link policies? And how do I actually think about all this? I have to have an actual plan, all right? There has to be a plan for this, and I can see results, what's taking effect. So there's lots of things to look at this. And for example, another example, if I right click and I choose edit on one of the policies, I will see two options. I would see computer configuration and user configuration. Now, what is the difference between both? Computer configuration will affect the actual computer before it reaches the logon screen, which means it doesn't really care who logs on. Okay. The user configuration policy will take effect after the user logs on, which means it doesn't matter which computer you use, it will follow you based on the user. So wherever the user goes, the policy will take effect. Computer configuration will affect whoever logs on to that actual computer. So that's like a difference between user and computer configuration. We're going to be looking at all these different aspects as you see. I'm just giving you a little like introduction to different options that I see under group policy management. And if I go to details, watch this. It's enabled. Each policy has a unique ID. Remember, it's stored in the sysvol. The sysvol contains your GPOs. So if I click on the down arrow, I could say, you know what? I want to disable this policy. Or you know what? Let me just disable the computer configuration and leave the user configuration running. You could actually filter this. It could be filtered. I mean, there's lots of things. And scope, I could say, who is going to be affecting? Everybody. I could specify a group. I could specify users, right? I could even modify that from the delegation tab. We're going to be looking at all these different options. This is what GPMC is all about. So we're going to be looking in more details in another lecture in a few moments. So we'll see you folks soon. All right, bye.